My name is Dan Voinis. I'm a naturalist and documentarian, and I've spent my whole life working with and studying animals, particularly reptiles. Now, I'm using my filmmaking skills to share the animals I love with the rest of the world. These are my adventures. Morning Explorers! I'm Dan Voinis, and this is sort of a part 2 of an earlier documentary that I made. Just a little short one. You can find it. I'll put a link somewhere up there. Basically, Texas is kind of still in the middle of the COVID pandemic of 2020. So, what I'm doing is, much like my last video, I'm sort of out here by myself. I have no camera crews, just me. Got my camera on a little stick here, got another camera on my shoulder. Right now I'm just enjoying nature, seeing what fruits it bestows upon me. This is in the middle of a floodplain right here. So as you can see, the terrain, the ecosystem, the flora, and even the fauna are a bit different than the last one, which was more of the drier southern pine forest. The ground is a lot thicker with vegetation and undergrowth, and that provides a host of new habitats for different species. Probably the big ones out here are the frogs, toads, turtles, probably red-eared sliders, the occasional maybe snapping turtle, and then the water snakes. Those are the actual water snake, but also the venomous cottonmouth. Very soon into my trek, I encounter a muddy puddle left over from the last rain, and a flash of motion catches my eye. Just saw it out of the corner of my eye. There is a little baby water snake in here. Yeah, don't want to get stuck in this mud. He was somewhere right along here. Damn. I don't let this setback deter me, so I immediately resume my hunt, looking under pieces of debris where any number of creatures could hide. Hoo-hoo! That guy is a little close. Look at that. Right by my head is a massive golden silk spider. Look at him, you can actually see the silk coming out of the spinnerets, which are the silk organs, the back of his abdomen. They're completely harmless. All spiders have some amount of venom, but this guy's venom is not at all dangerous to people. I mean, it's honestly, bee stings are probably worse than this guy's bite, but I think because of his size and those just long, spindly legs. Oh, I think I don't know if I spooked him or if he just kind of stumbled for a sec. Something about him just kind of speaks to that primal fear that we all have of them. You know, I think from a distance, these guys are absolutely incredible. After leaving the spider to its web, I get another glimpse of a snake in a puddle. Ah! I swear there was a water snake in this puddle. But where did he go? Where could he hide? I'm starting to lose my mind. I'm starting to lose my grip on reality. I'm starting to lose my footing. It's starting to feel like I'm seeing things, but this next find assures me there's definitely reptiles in this area. Come on, let me look at you. There's a 5-line skink, a juvenile 5-line skink. Of course, some people call them blue-tailed skink because when they're small and young, they have a striking blue tail. Yeah, come on. Oh. He crawled up on my shoe and is now standing on the cuff of my pant leg. Hi, little buddy. Hey, little guy. Are you a little freaked out? I know I'm big and scary. Well, don't worry, I'm not gonna mess with you any further. They're just, oh, that blue is just so, it almost looks like it's like glowing. It's not, but it looks like it is. Okay, little guy, you can go. And there he goes off into the leaf litter and into the underbrush. Shortly after, I catch another glimpse of a snake in a large puddle. This time, it's a close enough look to identify it. Where? It was right there, right? Y'all saw it too. I swear, I'm not losing my mind. I swear there was a snake right here. Here I thought it's when you're stuck inside the house that you start to lose your mind. It's when you get cabin fever, but turns out it's when you're in the middle of the woods, all alone, and there's no one to talk to except a camera. I swear I'm seeing these snakes, but every time I get up there to the puddle, they're gone. You guys saw them, right? How can a snake disappear in such a tiny puddle? It feels like the universe is taunting me, laughing at me. But let it never be said that I'm not persistent, and eventually my determination pays off. Okay, in this puddle here, there are 2 broad-banded water snakes. Forgive the camera jostling around. I am currently trying to put the camera on a tripod so I can go catch them. Okay, so that puddle is close to some tall grass. I'm going to try and go in on the side of the tall grass, cut off his escape, because if he's in the open, it'll be a lot easier to catch him. If he's in the tall grass, it could give me trouble, so let's try. Notice that when I grab the snake, I never lift it off the ground by the tail. Doing that can cause serious injury to the snake's spine. So I always leave the front half on the ground until I can find a stick to support the snake's weight. Okay, here we go. As you can see, she's calmed down a bit, so I can freehand her. So you can tell broad-banded water snakes from this beautiful pattern they have. It's kind of a dark black base with this beautiful tan, almost orangish reddish banding on it. Now because it's kind of a faint orange, I almost describe it as like flames. They look like they have fire on them, which makes them absolute beauties. And if you look, hey sweetie, at her belly there, her belly scales, it's real red-orange. It looks absolutely incredible. She keeps opening her mouth at me kind of and giving a little puff. It's not a full hiss, but just a little puff. She's not, super jazzed about me pulling her out, but that's okay, she's calming down. Water snakes, all members of the genus, have their eyes really forwards on their heads and really high up on their heads. And the reason for that is so when they're in the water, they can stick just the tip of their snout above the water, just the eyes and the nostrils. The rest of them can remain completely submerged, completely hidden. These guys spend most of their time in the water. Now, not exclusively in the water. They're completely fine on land. They will spend a lot of time on land. But they do their hunting largely in the water. They hunt fish, they hunt frogs. Those are their two biggest sources of food. Because a lot of people don't know how to properly identify non-venomous water snakes, they always assume they're the venomous cottonmouth. People think that just because a snake is in the water, it's dangerous. And they think just because a snake is approaching them, it's aggressive and dangerous. But these guys aren't aggressive. They can be defensive if you mess with them, but they're not aggressive. They're incredibly very curious. Very curious little guy. If you're messing around, by the water, a lot of times they'll want to see what you're doing. They want to see what the big, ugly, hairless ape is doing in their territory. Now, especially one of the problems with these guys is that when they feel defensive, they will flatten their head, and when their head's flattened, it looks like a triangle from above. And the old adage is that with vipers, venomous vipers, they have a triangular head. Yes and no. Vipers have a very distinct head structure, but the rule is not just general triangle, stay away. But because they live in the water, because they're dark colored like the cottonmouth, people will assume they're dangerous and they'll kill them. A lot of these guys get killed. So many of them get killed by people out of fear, out of hatred, out of misunderstanding. After a few minutes of handling it for the cameras, I released this beautiful animal back where it came from. Well, I've seen many cool and exciting creatures today, but best of all, after so many tantalizing glimpses and even downing my sanity for a bit, I finally managed to get my hands on a broad-banded water snake and get it in front of the camera for you guys. Thus, once again postponing my inevitable trip to the shrink. So, I'm gonna make my way back to my car and back home. You guys, please remember that there is still a pandemic going on, especially in the United States. Wear your masks, avoid going out, avoid gatherings of people, take plenty of vitamin C, and stay safe. Oh, and also, studies do show that liking and subscribing to my channel does not give you a risk of getting COVID. So, why not? How do I get out of here?